about grassroots. Is this a registered business, not registered business? Because there are different financing targets, different business entities. So let's say, for example, it's a registered business. In Namibia, I know that we do classify most of the registered small businesses under SME. We do have what we call the SME financing strategy. And under that strategy, there are different revenue sources to support or finance SMEs. One, we're looking at the development finance institutions, that is the Development Bank of Namibia. So there's several projects that are running under that, and under the Development Bank of Namibia. One being the skill-based financing, and also looking at the economic recovery scheme as well under TPN. And then we are also looking then at the collaboration between government and the private sector, which is the financial institutions, the commercial banks. They're definitely looking at the SME scheme and the economic recovery that I also spoke about. So basically, then I think to understand whether it's the right kind of financing, targeting the right kind of businesses, we need to understand, is the need debt financing or is the need equity financing? Because I think also in the pipeline, we are looking at an equity venture capital fund to target businesses or small enterprises that require an equity and not debt financing. But when it comes to debt financing for commercial banks specifically, unfortunately, yes, there is requirements. There will definitely be that it needs to be a viable business. There needs to be off-takers that we can clearly define that these are off-takers and you're able to repay whatever loan facility or debt facility you are given. And then also the other thing is in terms of, I know we also mentioned around the documents, you require too many documents, it's expensive. Unfortunately, it is a requirement. So that's why I said that we need to understand which of the financing schemes under the SME financing strategy is targeted for a particular business. Then we would know whether it's targeting the right business. But then also maybe just to add is that under the financial institutions, we have also then to help SMEs, especially where there is no financials, for example. We are looking at what we call scored lending. Scored lending looks at your financial data points. The amount of frequency that you transact in your current account, for example. Then you build up a certain score, and based on that score, you are able to get a certain amount of funding without even having to produce financials. So that's really how we're really supporting some of the smaller businesses that are not really able to meet the red tapes of some of the requirements that are required for more bigger financing. And then also that's also where trade finance also really comes to play. Because trade finance is centered around the trade flow. So, for example, the ones that I mentioned earlier around working capital solutions, we are looking at the actual flow of the trade. We are looking at the refinancing on the back of the flow of funds. So for some of those trade finance solutions that we structure, we are able to give you a certain amount of money. Let's say, for example, $250,000 to $500,000 million without financials, but looking at the flow of funds within that trade finance deal. I hope that answers it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Mr. Patrick Sam.
Thank you very much. I think on the issue of disability, I think it's a very important kind of component that needs to be added on to youth, because youth with disability, women with disability, the experience in terms of barriers and dehumanization and humiliation is compounded, right? So I did a mainstreaming exercise for the UN when we had to audit the disability mainstreaming within the 9 agencies of the UN. I can give all institutions one recommendation that works very effectively when it comes to mainstream disability. It's inclusive procurement. So one of the commitments that the UN is making increasingly is that they will not procure from a service provider that does not include or have a venue where there is accessibility. We will not use transport services that do not make special provision for people with disabilities. So when you use procurement, and you say, in order to qualify for procurement, you need to ensure that the conferencing, that the whatever is disability sensitive. I think that is a very important way to immediately see that people that are applying for tenders and want access to public money, to that financing, have a requirement that is inclusive of disability, and I think that's an effective way just to respond to that particular issue as well. I think procurement is very powerful in changing who has access and opportunity in a country, and I think that becomes the challenge when we talk about trade. Who has access? What is available? How do we utilize what is available? And does it create some form of stability in our lives? So I think for me, in closing, when it comes to mainstreaming women, the question we have to ask as individuals, in our families, in our communities, as a country, on the continent, in the world, is what do we value? Who do we value? And a lot of the African experience is very historically structured, that you are not a human being, you're a slave. Therefore, you don't get human dignity. And the systems of African elites have continued to do this. And I will speak about the elephant in the room, which is the extractive industry, which is the reason why people think that things are more important than people. These products, these services, these innovations are not more important than people. They have to enable human dignity. So this has to be a value-driven process. And the reason why, from a public policy perspective, the creative sector, which doesn't have barriers, I'll give you a practical example. We showed a movie from foreign investment in Namibia that's very controversial currently, but the investment perspective was it employed 1,647 Namibians. People from the wardrobe department, from the acting to the technical department, but it's not taken seriously. So I told filmmakers not to call themselves filmmakers, they must call themselves film manufacturers. Because when you speak about film manufacturing, then you speak about rebates. When you understand the trade environment, when you go to banks, when you talk about access and opportunity, but this idea that imperialism and colonialism will keep on making Africans feel like things are more important than themselves needs to change. Right? And we're going to use this opportunity and this platform to dignify people, because people are important than property, even though they're both important. People must get that, this must be a value-driven process.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I think you ending on a note that I want David to also just touch on. I know that when you are in the East and the West and the North and Central Africa, I feel that young people are more Pan-African. They are more confident. They are more vocal. And I just want you to share with us, how can we become more Pan-African? What is the importance of young people actually finding identity in Africa? And how did you get there as a region? So I think if you can share with us.
Thank you so much. I think the Pan-African issue or question is directly here. My sister there is a good example. I can say she's on the journey of being a good Pan-African. She has the interests of Africa and her own Pan-African. And my brother there, the big CEO, is also one who has, that drive. And Pan-Africanism is very simple. It's having the love for our own people. And our own people starts with ourselves and family. You can't say you love Molot here who has come from wherever he has come from without loving your own brother, mother, sister. That's where Pan-Africanism starts. And actually, if you didn't know, that trade, we all began trading at a very young age. Trade starts in the house. When your big brother is given big meat and you're trying to, it starts from there. That's why you learn the idea of bargaining. It starts from the house. So when we begin nurturing our children to understand that the love of our own people starts with us, that's where Africa will go forward. And Pan-Africanism is built around the notion of being human, considering others first. Well, of course, not forgetting your own interests. But Pan-Africanism ideally means we loving one another, we embracing one another, we thinking about others' needs, not only our needs. And my sister there has just demonstrated that. And I thought I shouldn't even speak, she has actually preempted my speech. But since I have to say something, I will say that thank you, my good sister, for doing that. And another level of Pan-Africanism is recognizing, and I made a very big mistake, that when you have a vice chairperson who is a lady, you first have to introduce her before you will speak. I just forgot to do that. I will be expelled. My good sister Bella from the Swahili is my vice chairperson. And it's also part of Pan Africans. If you go there and appreciate the people you work with, Bella just very good people. Yes. So I think back to the issue of Pan-Africanism, and I love the comments that were coming through, and it's also hitting on reinforcing Pan-Africanism. The fear of opening borders, that the AfCFTA is going to make our economies fall, that the AfCFTA is going to empty our pockets. That shouldn't be what we are selling as young people. As young people, we should actually be advocating for our governments to sign and ratify the Protocol of Free Movement of Persons, so that we can be able to move. The AfCFTA, and I will also need to combine this point, the AfCFTA is here to reinforce. Part of the core visions, the objective of the AfCFTA is to promote economic integration, but also political integration. And when I leave Uganda and come to Namibia, I ideally understand, I will appreciate the culture. And I speak from this because I have my sister-in-law in the room here, who we actually also, who is reinforcing this Pan-Africanism we are talking about. But this is what the AfCFTA is doing. The AfCFTA is ensuring that we trade with one another. We work with one another. And the fear of the aid that is when we open the borders, people will talk about economies. It's not. We have what we call preferential treatment under the AfCFTA. I think the Secretariat will speak in detail about that, where our import industries are protected within the AfCFTA regime. So, me as I conclude, I will not say much, but the advocates are we. It's the call to action. My good brother says that we should begin dreaming more. But ideally, we're already dreaming. By being here, we're already dreaming. We're already showing interest that we want to move Africa forward. So the goal is to see we multiply the knowledge we've learned from here. And that's what we need to do. The information you've put in here, go and speak to 2, 3, 4 more people about the AfCFTA. The informal cross-border traders that my good uncle now highlighted, that most of them are not here. The idea of the AfCFTA is to see that we stop trading in the traditional way. Let's legalize our businesses to take advantage. Our youth will not be able to take advantage of the AfCFTA if we don't legalize our businesses. And the best way to do that is what we are talking about, creating an enabling environment. And the good thing we have our MP here, and of course our presidential advisor, who will be able to take this information to create that enabling environment. Another conclusion, lastly, is just to thank the National Youth Council for organizing this, and of course the Youth Tax Justice Network for putting this together. But most importantly, the government of Namibia for creating an enabling environment where you can discuss freely. It's very hard to get. So kudos to the team and kudos to our youth leaders in government. Thank you so much for pushing for this. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Please, another round of applause to yourself. Omadano, please, your concluding remarks and any other questions that you might want to address that you picked up.
Okay, thank you. So, made a lot of notes here, but I'll be concise. I wanted to amplify a few things that were said. Lloyd over there mentioned R&D, and it's really, this is, it's very close to my heart because what we try to do in the lab is just that, and we need research, we need time, like we need timely research. We can't use a document from 2016. We need real-time evidence, right? But the research and development is left out usually when we're speaking about development work, when we're addressing policies and agreements. I've seen it myself where in a policy setup where the research part is left out. But now outside of like in the government space, just when we are developing solutions and testing solutions, research and development is really needed. And what the UN is trying to do with the Accelerator Lab is to be that research and development component. And ultimately what we're supposed to do is then share our learnings so that when you're looking at investigating a similar challenge we're already investigating, you use our learning as part of how to how to address the situation. So don't go back to like the beginning and spend money on the research part. But anyway, I would just like to say research and development are really something that we need to take into into advisement, especially with our secretariat. Somebody mentioned prevention against crime. I think there was somebody there who mentioned against crime. There's something called design against crime, where you can design specific products that are under the design against crime, and the idea is that you remove the opportunity for the criminal to commit the crime. But there's also a policy aspect to it, where you actually involve policy that is looking at design against crime, and the main aim is to actually try and work with that policy to remove as many opportunities as you can for people to commit crime. So I think, again, Secretariat, please, if there's something you can look into. Then we were speaking, a lady here mentioned how basically trade is very expensive. There are forms that you need to fill out, and things that don't make sense, and things that are not in a simplified language. And one of the areas that we've actually looked into with from when we were in was around a one-stop shop. We've also spoken to Mr. Kandegi about it. It's something that we've discussed, a one-stop shop for people who are in the informal, or who are not, trading informally, or people who just don't understand what it is required of them when it comes to customs. So it's something that we're looking into and seeing, but obviously it can't just be at the border. It's something that would also have to be in all the towns, at the ministries, for example, but specifically for people that are trading informally, or they just don't have a great understanding of what that is. And coming back to the trade, where we see that a lot of the women are really, and I want to touch on how women are putting their lives at risk to be able to trade, put money on the table. There's something called gender responsive budgeting. And gender responsive budgeting is looking at specifically the things or the challenges that are faced by women specifically. Let's just give an example of, there's a dark street that women usually take, like to walk to get to a taxi or transport. How can the city of Windhoek, for example, incorporate money specifically to address the dangers that women are going through? So gender responsive budgeting, all of this is very secretariat. It's something that should be included somewhere in this, where money is addressing these issues. We can't just have a women in youth protocol where we're not spending money on addressing some of these challenges. And what else would I like to say? So I think to wrap this up really is we often have discussions like this, but one of the questions we usually have in the lab is, so what? What now? It can't end here. So I really do leave you all with the question, what now? So what? And what now? What do we do to actually not have this again? Now we see that people have actually actioned what has been put on the table. So thank you.
Thank you very much.